Good morning. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, micro and macroeconomics, the difference between the microeconomics and macroeconomics, and interdependence between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Now, basically microeconomics and macroeconomics are the two main areas of economics which we need to study. I will just give you a little background to this first, and the background is that initially it was thought that government did not have any role to play, and demand and supply were enough to determine the price in any market. But what happened was, after the Great Depression, the need was felt that if we leave everything to market conditions, it is not going to bring about stabilization in the economy. So we started with the concept of macroeconomics. Now, micro, as the term spells out, is micros, M-I-C-R-O-S. This is a Greek word and it means small. So microeconomics basically deals with small concepts, small parts that we have to talk about. It is basically known as a worm's point of view. If you see, when a worm is crawling, it can only see a very small area around it. It cannot see the whole jungle, it cannot see the whole forest. So that is how we study microeconomics. We just study a very small part which is visible around her. It is the study of, individual economic units. It is the study of small parts. Means how much is the income of one individual, how much is the consumption of one household, one person, what is the kind of demand which is there only in a very small market, just one shop around you, or what is the amount of supply which is there in a very small place. We do not talk about large scale over here. Macroeconomics is again derived from the Greek word called as macros, M-A-C-R-O-S. Macros means large, and hence it is the study of aggregates. We call this the bird's viewpoint of looking at things. If you see, when a bird flies, it sees an entire area from the top, and hence the way we are looking at an economy from the top, that means the complete economy as a whole, will be studied under macroeconomics. It studies the economy as a whole. So we are not studying about individual income, we are going to study about national income. We will study about not household consumption but national level consumption, not demand of an individual but aggregate demand of an economy, aggregate supply of an economy. All these are bigger concepts and studied as a whole. Then we come to the difference between micro and macroeconomics. The first basic difference is that microeconomics is the study of individual economic units. It is a study of small parts, whereas macroeconomics is the study of aggregates. Again, the same examples: household income, household consumption, etc. And here we take national income, national output, etc. The main tools of analysis under microeconomics are taken as demand and supply. Everything, the equilibrium is determined with the help of market demand and market supply. Whereas in the case of macroeconomics, we will take the concepts of aggregate demand and aggregate supply to determine the equilibrium in the economy. And these are the main tools of analysis. I will repeat. Under microeconomics, demand and supply, the individual and market demand and supply, will be used to determine equilibrium, whereas under macroeconomics, aggregate demand and aggregate supply will be used to determine the equilibrium in the economy. Here we talk about prices of goods and services which need to be determined. With the demand and supply, what do we determine? We determine equilibrium price of goods and services. Whereas in case of macroeconomics, you will determine equilibrium income and employment. So basically macroeconomics deals with income and employment, and microeconomics deals with equilibrium price. That is why micro is also called the price theory, whereas macroeconomics is called as the employment theory. Okay, so these are the important differences which we talk about between micro and macroeconomics. Now we come to the interdependence. Interdepend interdependence between micro and macroeconomics. Now, what is the interdependence between micro and macroeconomics? We should remember that if you are not studying the individual or the small parts, we cannot understand how the whole economy works. So, unless you understand micro, you cannot understand macroeconomics. It is very important to study both of them because macroeconomics will tell you the whole concept and microeconomics will tell you what are the smaller parts. Both these will be complementary to each other and both of these will depend upon each other. So this is basically what we talk about, the interdependence between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay, so I'll just repeat. Microeconomics is a small concept, it is an individual concept, it talks about the economy as small parts, whereas macroeconomics is an aggregative concept, it is a whole concept where we talk about the entire sector as being one. So this is basically why both of these have to work together for a proper understanding of economics. Okay, thank you.